Okay, so this is part 2 of my Minefactory Reloaded Spotlight. This is version 2.4 for Minecraft 1.5.1. And in part 1, I covered the livestock and farming aspects of MFR, along with a couple of the things you can do with Mob Essence or Liquid XP. And in this episode, I will be looking at some of the new machines. The next machine is right here, and it is called a Fissure. And I bet nobody in the audience can guess what the Fissure does, so I'm just going to show you. I have it turned off right now, but once it's connected to power, it needs to be over a 3x3 area of water like this, of water source blocks. And when it's powered on, we'll let the idle bar go down, and in a surprise to everyone present, whenever it fills up its work bar, it will go ahead and start ejecting. There's one in there already. Raw fish. So anytime now, it will finish filling this bar up, and ta-da, we've got raw fish. And it'll just continue to produce raw fish up until when you either apply a redstone signal or it loses its water source block or whatever. There's a couple miscellaneous blocks that I'm going to show you right now that don't necessarily fit in anywhere else in the systems we're talking about. And there's some miscellaneous items I'm going to get into here real quick. The first block I want to show you is called a deep storage unit. And a deep storage unit will store up to 2 billion and change of a single item. You'll notice here it has configurable faces. It works with logistics pipes. It works with buildcraft pipes. It works with applied energistics storage systems, ME storage, as far as input buses and output buses. So it works with basically all the popular storage systems. I think there's an issue getting it to work with Red Power. I think you have to put a filter in between it with Red Power pneumatic tubes, but I don't really use Red Power storage, so I'd have to double check on that. But you notice I've already got it set up with some dirt, and all I have to do is take my dirt, drop it in the input, and there it goes. And you'll notice the stored amount keeps going up. And you'll notice there's 2 input slots here, and that lets it not get stuck on stacks. There's a always filled output box here for a stack, so I can pull a stack out at a time if I want to. And it also works with inventory tweaks, so I can shift click things into it and it'll dump it immediately back into the system. A really cool, really powerful block. Really simplifies. It really simplifies a huge quantity storages for things like cobble or dirt or things that come out of quarries, things like that. The next block I'm going to show you is called a unifier. And unfortunately, because I don't have a lot of 1.5 mods updated on this server, you're just going to have to trust me. What the unifier does is takes any items you put into it and changes them to the first item in the ore dictionary. The ore dictionary used by Forge to identify items that can be used, between different recipes, like different kinds of copper ingots or tin or whatever. It also has inputs and output sides. I believe input is any of the sides and output is top and bottom. So you can use it automatically in a system to convert all of your particular resources to the first one in your ore dictionary. So it's like a simplified version of TE's lexicon. The other block I want to show you, the other items I want to show you are the spyglass. And the way the spyglass works is you can aim it anywhere you want to and right click, and it'll tell you what you're aiming at and the coordinates of it. Found a tank, found a rubber wood, found a gold chest. So it's really convenient for, getting a coordinate, getting it in your chat log, or figuring out exactly what a particular block is, things like that. And the last item I want to show you real quick is called the porta spawner. And what the porta spawner does is it allows you to, you see that's a vanilla monster spawner. And what it'll allow me to do is pick it up. You'll see that it's changed to show that I have a zombie in it, or a zombie spawner, and then I can set it back down anywhere I want to. And then it eats the porta spawner. So, it's a limited use thing that, can I even break this with a sword? I don't think so. a limited use thing that lets you move some spawners around. So it's pretty cool. And something, I don't know if any other mod lets you do that. I mean, I know Shoal Shards lets you eat them, but I don't think any other mod lets you just move spawners around. So next, we're going to move over here into our item routing and storage blocks. And this is some of the really cool stuff that's been in MFR for a while. Obviously, featured here are conveyors. And conveyors can be dyed using the ceramic dyes, which I'll show you right now also. And the ceramic dye recipe is pretty simple and pretty cheap, and it lets you dye these and also a couple other blocks. So the first item we're going to look at here, the first block is called the ejector, and what it does is pretty easy. Whenever it receives a redstone signal, it will eject an item. And it's going to eject out of the first slot of the attached inventory. And like I said, as soon as it receives a signal, spits out whatever the first item it finds is, and it's the output side is this hole. You may have noticed that our dirt blocks ran into this particular machine here called an item router. And the item router functions a little bit like a diamond pipe from Buildcraft. You notice there's colored bars here, and you can define which side of the item router you'd like to have those items ejected from. Now, one of the neat things about the item routers is it'll pick up items that are loose. So that's why feeding the conveyor belt into it works really well, because anything that impacts one of the sides will immediately get picked up and tossed back out. And you notice I have dirt going to the green side, which is another conveyor belt. And then I have the yellow side going over here to this chest. So what you'll see is, as I spit dirt out of this attached inventory, it'll get picked up by the item router and immediately plopped back out on this other conveyor belt, where it gets picked up by our item grabber, right? Is that right? Did I call that the right name? No, I did not. Item collector. So the item collector is this block here, and it'll pick up any items that come near it and drop them into an attached inventory. If I go over here and and switch my cobblestone to this first item, you'll notice it will get picked up by the item router and shot over into these golden transport pipes, and it'll land in this chest. So a lot of neat functions you can do with the item router. Pretty easy to set up system and use. So, I believe another change that's happened recently in MFR that I've mentioned in a spotlight, but is important, is that you can no longer pick up items manually that are on conveyors. So this allows you to use conveyor systems around where you'd be walking. In the past, if you walked by a conveyor with items on it, you'd suck all the items up into your inventory, and that's no longer a problem, which is really cool. The next thing I want to look at is called a block breaker. And that's this guy right here. Oops. And once again, it does respond to redstone, so it's not going to do anything. There it goes. So once it is clear of a redstone signal, placing blocks in front of it, it will continually break the blocks. So a little different than the red power block breakers, which require a redstone pulse each time to do their thing. It will continue breaking blocks while it is not receiving redstone, and it'll dump the whatever it gets out of it into an attached inventory, just like that. Or once again, like most of the other MFR machines and blocks, it'll spit it into pipes or whatever. All right, so that is kind of the whole of the inventory sorting / item routing system, with the block breaker put on there for good measure. We've got a couple other machines to show you real quick. This one's called a lava fabricator, and it does use a considerable amount of power, but once it's getting power, and I click my redstone signal off there, I'm going to click this one off too. It will just begin generating lava, kind of out of thin air. But it doesn't generate a lot. It takes a lot of power to get the lava generation out of there. So this is more of a, I have more power than I know what to do with, and generating lava is kind of annoying type of device more than anything else. It's not going to let you bypass trying to get lava from anywhere because of how much power it takes. The one sitting next to it's an oil fabricator. And again, the oil fabricator, that's weird. Kind of spazzing out on us here a little bit. Oh, it's just using all of its power. So again, takes a lot of power. Oh, see, look at that. Even 1,000 EU per tick wasn't enough to power both these machines. So the oil fabricator will just happily pump along there and make oil for you. But again, uses a ton of power. Finally, what I want to show you here is a really cool block that I use a lot. I guess it just depends on how you do your liquid setups. But this is called a liquid router. And very much like the item router, it has color-coded inventory sorting. And you just place a bucket of whatever you want to sort in the UI there. And you notice I have yellow set to water, I have red set to oil, and over here I have my source. So if my source were to pick up let me switch to creative here. If my source were to pick up a bunch of oil, that oil is going to get pumped out. You guys can tell I don't have a lot of mods, right? Because I'm using Buildcraft stuff for all this pumping instead of Liquidox, but that's okay. And you'll notice it gets routed right over to this side and pumped into another tank. Real simple, real easy, real convenient. I use it for like when I have oil wells out in the ocean and I need to make sure I don't clog up my system with water. You notice there it's all completely empty. And now if I fill this up with water, it's going to begin pumping the water and pushing it over to the correct side. So obviously you can connect whatever you want up to this system. You can have a void pipe or, however you wanted to deal with liquids coming out of it. So very cool. All right. Another neat little kind of recently added Minefactory Reloaded feature is the roadblocks. And there's 3 different kinds. You can see them right here. The first is this regular roadblock here in the middle. And then there are 2 kinds of lit roadblocks. The first one is an inverted road light, and that's like this block here. And you'll see it's powered on even though I don't have anything connected to it. And then I've got another set of them over here. And then down the middle, you'll notice I have regular lights. And I'm going to flick this lever, and ta-da, they all light up beautifully. Roadblocks are neat. They kind of have low friction on them, like ice. So once you get going on them, you keep your momentum really easily, and they look awesome. One of the best looking kind of just design blocks that are out there right now. There are some more cosmetic stuff that we're going to look at, and this is all of Power Crystal's stained glass, and it's made very simply. You see here with glass and again the ceramic die, and it can be made into blocks and also into panes. You see all the panes that I've set up here, and that recipe should look real familiar. And then there's a couple more cosmetic blocks. Over here we've got glowstone bricks, and there are 2 varieties of most of these. There's a large brick and a small brick. So we have glowstone, we have ice, we have lapis, we have obsidian, we have small stone bricks, and then we have snow bricks. And then finally there's a neat cosmetic block that is called unmelting ice, and that is what you see right here. And that is just simply ice. Works just like ice. You see that? That will never melt. So very cool. And I don't know, does it turn into water? No, it doesn't turn into water when you break it. So I don't know if that's something he's planning on changing or not. Okay, on to one of the coolest blocks I think you'll ever see. This is called the Liquid Crafter. And you'll notice here I've already got an item set up in here, and this is, I don't know why that's like that. So you'll see a regular crafting interface here, and it'll show you what it's going to make, and it'll show you if there's an item in the output, and I'd left that in there, but that's okay. But generally, the Liquid Crafter waits for a redstone pulse to create an item. So you'll see here, if I send it a pulse, oops, let's get another lever here. Let's get out of creative mode. If I send it a pulse, it creates an item, and then this is just my an ejector. And you notice it spits it out. So what you've got here is the ability to do auto crafting. Well, what's the big deal, you may say? There's tons of auto crafters out there. Some of them don't require redstone pulses. Why is this any better? What's going on there? Oh, I ran out of cobblestone in there. If that were the only thing that this machine did, you'd be absolutely right. But of course, that's not all that it does. Let's go back into creative for a second. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this tank up with water. And you'll see here it begins pumping water into my system. As you can see here, the first tank on my liquid crafter is full of water. And what that means is that I can now insert a recipe like I've done here with an empty cell and a water bucket. And you show here, it shows a water cell. I've filled the inventory here with empty cells. And now when I apply a signal, it actually makes a water cell. This is amazingly powerful for recipes that require like a bucket of water, or some of them, if mod creators get crazy later, this will take up to 9 different liquids and allow you to, instead of having to replace buckets or put it in cells or things like that, you know, if you're using forestry, you could use this for recipes that require honey, or recipes that require seed oil, things like that. So just a really cool mechanic that allows you to very, very much simplify crafting with liquids. Now, this does have a couple other features to it. Beyond what I've shown you, you can pump items into it using the sides. Obviously, extraction of completed items happens through the top, as I've shown you there. This machine will also allow you to use recipes that use consumable items with durability. So like saws from Red Power, from Emibus's microblocks, or minium stones from Equivalent Exchange 3, things like that. And I don't have those mods on the server right now to show you, but they do work. By far one of the coolest autocrafters out there. Next, we have a really convenient alternate power generation system set up over here. And this is called a bioreactor. And it's got kind of a complicated interface, so I'm going to walk you through it. The top kind of crafting grid looking thing is an input buffer, more or less. What you do is you drop a type of material in here, and it's got to be something that MFR recognizes as plantable. So you see I've got seeds and saplings, and then I have cactus green in here, but that's just a bug in the particular version that I have. I don't think that's going to work in the final version, so no big deal. The way this works is once the machine is on, well, let me explain something for sure. Notice I have 9 different types of biofuel in here. There's a bar over here for an internal liquid buffer, and then of course the oh, I thought that was a work bar, but it says buffer on it too. But anyway, there's a middle bar here that says efficiency. And the way this works is really simple. The more variety of items you have in here, the more efficient this machine is. So it's not efficient at all with only, let's say, seeds in here, and it'll absolutely tear through them. But once you have 9 different types of resources in here, when I click them on, you'll notice it'll begin very slowly chewing through the resources that I have plugged in. Okay. If I were to only have, I'll show you here in a second. So you see how slow that is? Right? But let's say that I were to cut this down to just seeds. Look at that. Look how much faster it's going through everything. And it's not until I put this stuff back in that it begins very slowly using the resources. So variety matters, efficiency matters. And then what this thing's going to do, you notice I've just got it pumping into a tank here as a buffer. And then what this can do is feed over here into a biofuel generator. And the biofuel generator will slowly build up power, energy. And I thought Oh, yep, there it goes. I don't know why I don't have a blue line in here, but it's powering. And what this is doing is sending power over here to this next machine called a weather collector. This machine, right, by the way, is real simple. You pump biofuel into it, it'll cook it into power, and then it'll shoot it out of connected electricity, and you'll get an amount of energy out of it. So you see here, my bio generator is powering my weather collector, and the weather collector is kind of a, I don't know, maybe not that useful to a lot of people, but in worlds where there are limited ways to get water, the weather collector will generate water based off of weather and biomes. So a pretty cool machine. And that, guys, is essentially all of the machines from Minefactory Reloaded. So now I'm going to show you the newest and by far coolest feature that Power Crystals has added in a while, and it is RedNet. And RedNet is this cable right here. These are RedNet cables, and you'll see I've got them hooked up to a couple of different things. I have some vanilla redstone lamps hooked up. You'll also notice I've got an interface over here to allow it to talk with regular vanilla redstone. And for right now, you have to use either a repeater or a comparator, whatever that new item they added is, into the chain here to get it to go in and out of RedNet to vanilla redstone. So first, I'll just show you the basics. Notice I apply redstone signal. Bam. My lights come on, my redstone lights up. I have this set up over here to show you that it can also move vertically. Okay. And I'm going to shut this off. And what I think is one of the coolest parts of this is that it's also an integrated, let's see, where's my lever? I keep running out of levers here. Integrated bundled cable. So you'll notice here on the backs of these, there's a little white band. And if I hit that with my, oh, probably should get out of creative mode. If I hit that with my hammer, it will, I'm right clicking it, by the way. If you right click it, you'll get a color band. See that? So let's set that one to, what is that, like? Okay, purple's good. So let's set that one to purple. Then we're going to come over here, and we're going to set this one to purple. All right. Oh, that's pink. There. So we have both those set to purple. So now, flicking this switch will only turn on that light. Flicking this switch will only turn on that light. Oh, actually, the output here to the, since that was on all of them, let's see here. There we go. So that one will now only power that light on the left, and this one will power the other two. Come on now, how cool is that? All right, but Wylker, there must be more. Why, yes, faithful viewer, there is more. What you can also do is have multiple outputs. Let's get rid of these for a minute. On the same block. You see that? See how those are both white? We'll check this out. Now I have a white and a purple on the same block, receiving input from different sides. So now this control will activate those. See that? And this control will activate that one. Absolutely amazing stuff. And I didn't even realize it, but this render is way better than the original renders that I saw for this. So everything about this is just really, really cool right now. I don't know. I'm really impressed by this. And it's one step closer to being independent of certain other mods that may or may not update. But RedNet cabling, guys. Very, very, very cool. I realized that in my demonstration over here of the spawner, I neglected to show you one of the most fun parts of this mod, which is the SafariNet launcher. And the SafariNet launcher will work with your Safari balls. Let's grab a stack of single-use balls. There we go. And what it'll do is fire them out and catch mobs that you hit with it. And you can pick them up. And then if you fire again, it will spit them back out. And then what you can also do is if you can move this a little further back in your inventory. Oh, you know what that did? It shot my full ball from earlier. See that? It shot that full one. So if we just continue putting empty ones at the top of our inventory, I can just continue shooting and collecting things like, oh, I don't know, cows. Oh, I missed. So yes, that is the SafariNet launcher and how it can be used for hilarious effect. By the way, you notice my breeder over here. Oops. Let's get this guy out of there. My breeder has continued breeding cows, so I have little baby cows all over here. And as they grow into adults, they'll get pulled over and slaughtered mercilessly. Before we wrap this up, I want to introduce you to one more really interesting mechanic introduced by Minefactory Reloaded. Remember all those liquids that we've been seeing, the sludge and the sludge and the sewage and the mob essence? Well, Power Crystals has decided that not only should we be able to pump that stuff around and do really cool stuff with it, but we should also be able to place it in the world. I think I have some set up in my Creative Plus inventory. Yes. Mob essence, sludge, and sewage. So watch here what happens as I right-click some mob essence into the world. Ta-da! We get a small, tiny little lake of mob essence. All right. I can do the same thing with sludge. Yuck. And of course, everybody's favorite, brown liquid sewage. But why would I want to place these in the world, you may be asking? Well, clearly the answer is because you want to swim in it. You can swim in these. They will give you really nasty effects. Poison, hunger. Sludge gives you weakness and nausea, and oh, it's just awful. Let me grab some milk here. By the way, he's also made milk placeable in the world. And in order to offset that, since you can no longer just randomly right-click at a bucket of milk. See, there's milk placeable in the world also. And you notice milk gives you haste, so, you know, not just negative things. But, check this out. What if you, say, wanted to, oh, I don't know, drink something right off the ground? You have your handy-dandy straw. So I can come up to my little milk lake here and right-click it, and ta-da! Drink the milk. And yes, for those of you that are asking and wondering, you can, of course, also drink sewage. And that gives you especially nasty effects. I'm gonna die. And you can drink all the other liquids that that Minefactory Reloaded allows you to generate. There are some little surprises, and you'll actually see here, I got kind of lucky with my world gen, that there are occasionally random spawning pools of sludge and sewage. So there's some naturally occurring little ponds of sludge for you guys to see. Last but not least, we've got sugar charcoal, which is just a use for sugar. You can throw it into any type of machine that uses solid fuel, and I believe it produces about a quarter of the, or maybe half, I don't remember, of the energy of regular charcoal. And then one last fun item. I'm going to spawn a slime here. Oh, that is a little slime, but that's okay. We've got another syringe that I hadn't really talked about the rest of the syringes yet. So the first one I'm going to show you here is the slime embiggening syringe. And you'll notice when I click it, it makes them bigger. Well, let's get a couple more of those. Because, oops. Ow. All right, because you can actually make a, oh God, it killed me. You can actually make a slime significantly bigger. Oh my gosh, look at that. That took half my life. Oh, he's gonna kill me again. Look, I think I can make him, oh, not as big as I get. Look how huge he is. All right, I'll be right back. And let's go check out our auto enchanter. So now I have a sharpness 4, smite 4 sword. And I think that's pretty close to the maximum enchantability of gold. Nope, it'll do another set for me. And this time it's gonna take 23,000 work, so a little over twice as much as last time, and that should max out this golden sword. So the enchanter, as you can see, while it takes some time, will certainly double or even triple enchant items. Well, guys, that's it. That is Minefactory Reloaded for Minecraft 1.5. I hope you guys have enjoyed it, and I cannot recommend MFR highly enough. I love everything about the mod, from the simplicity to the attention to detail in a lot of the blocks and machines, and you know, the way that Power Crystals has kind of made a lot of useful stuff in a really simple to understand and easy to use format. I know sometimes this mod gets pushed to the side for some of the more mainstream mods, but if you guys haven't checked it out, I highly, highly, highly recommend it. This has been Wylker. Thank you guys so much for watching, and hopefully we will see you next time.